When Peter Parker disappeared following his battle with new villain Hellgate, two imposters slid on in and tried to lay claim to his life. But would you believe that this is only the tip of a much bigger, much more cosmic iceberg? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 11, and find out what happens together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we actually pick on up with Aunt May. She's becoming really depressed and despondent, considering that Peter hasn't bothered to check in with her in a really long time, like in a time that's like weird even for Peter, a guy who regularly loses control of his own life. If nothing else, May actually does have the companionship and support of her new boyfriend, a character who I wasn't so sure about when he was first introduced, but I'm actually warming up to him. Now, the big meat and potatoes of this issue, of course, involves the fake Spider-Man and the fake Peter Parker finally confronting each other from the end of the previous issue. It's the fake Spider-Man who has narration duty, and they have a lot of fun sizing each other up. Ooh, that's a pretty good costume, but not exactly 100% perfect. That's how I know you're a fake. Oh, well, you swear and Peter Parker doesn't normally do that. That's how I know you're fake. Hey, those are some fancy cuffs on your wrists and ankles. Why, it's almost as if you don't have any spider powers at all, including spider sense. Astute scientific observation. You're clearly book smart, but duller than dishwater. Some more telling observations come in fake Spider-Man's internal monologue. He mentions how much he actually enjoys getting to be someone else, building on what we read in the previous issue. Now, when fake Peter ends up having his back against the wall, he pulls out a very familiar green goo ectoplasm sword. Yep, that's right, everyone, this is actually Ben Reilly, aka Peter's long-suffering clone, aka Chasm, aka former Spider-Man, aka former Jackal. Take your pick at this point for alternate personas. Now, last time we had seen Ben, him and Peter were not on good terms at all. In fact, he had faked getting cured, only to have it be revealed at the end of that issue that he still planned to destroy the man he was cloned from's life for a lot of really lame, really poorly defined reasons. But hey, you know what? I can't actually complain too hard, because it seems like this issue and Joe Kelly genuinely are attempting to put Ben Reilly back on the mend. You see, during his fight with fake Spider-Man, the two end up knocking over a chimney and almost killing a bunch of kids who were just sitting and hanging out on the roof. Fake Spider-Man acts fast and manages to save the kids, while Chasm himself genuinely shows remorse for innocent people almost getting hurt due to his actions, which actually tells us a lot about both fake Spider-Man and fake Peter Parker. Mainly, they're not nearly as bad as we might first have thought. Black Cat is actually the first to notice this, having followed fake Peter Parker after their previous interaction in the last issue. She knew something was up from the get-go, and now she feels vindicated. Though she naturally jumps to the conclusion that Ben must be back to his villainous ways and must have done something to Peter, but more on that in a minute. From there, we transition on over to Tombstone. He's got his brand new mob doctor, Plague RX, sparing no expense in repairing the Shocker, who still owes him a lot of money, especially after fake Spider-Man trashed his high-rise at the end of the previous issue. What's genuinely surprising is that Lonnie Lincoln is actually concerned about the level of violence that Spider-Man is showcasing. He assumed that he knew him after all their previous interactions in the last run, but now he just doesn't know what to think anymore. It's also at that moment, too, the kingpin of crime, Tombstone, ends up getting met by Roderick Kingsley, the Hobgoblin. Again, you probably forgot now, but one of his warehouses got attacked in the previous issue, due in no small part to the machinations of Tombstone. Roderick Kingsley says that maybe they should join forces as to keep stuff like this from happening, especially as it seems that Hobgoblin is working for some other mystery player and he doesn't want his work interrupted. Tombstone actually shows a hell of a lot of discipline and backbone, telling Kingsley to go to hell, that he doesn't want to team up because, well, the Hobgoblin loses all the time, and I mean, can you blame him? Why do I smell another gang war brewing? Now, the next day, Felicia Hardy actually ends up meeting Ben, so the two can hash things out. As Ben explains, Peter isn't dead, and he certainly didn't kill him. Black Cat has a hard time believing any of that, but Ben actually has an answer in this situation. I know Peter's not dead. Because of our Clone connection. Now that sounds incredibly stupid when you hear it out loud, but to hear Ben explain it, when Spider-Man died all of those times during 8 deaths of Spider-Man, he apparently felt it every single time and then also felt it when he was returned to life. So yeah, clone connection, I guess it's real. As far as why Ben felt the need to insert himself into Peter's life once again, he's a little bit more coy about that. So far, he's not doing anything wrong that we can see. He's even back together with longtime girlfriend Janine, who seems to be doing a lot better than she did before. That's still not to say that these two aren't planning something sinister. They're just not doing it right now, and arguably they're doing some good too, making it seem like Peter Parker hasn't disappeared. Though the big question becomes, if Peter is alive and Peter is out there, then why on earth hasn't he come back yet? And oh, we will have an answer for that by the end, don't you worry. Now, as the first part of this comic comes to a close, we're treated to a very fun little bit of juxtaposition. Fake Spider-Man and Aunt May both getting home around the same time. Aunt May wistfully looks at a picture of her, Ben, and Peter together in better times, while fake Spider-Man returns home to a big palatial apartment talking about why he made the choices he did, saying that Spider-Man was important to him, that Peter took a chance on him when no one else did, and because of that he wants to try and protect his legacy, and that is because the fake Spider-Man is ultimately revealed to be none other than Norman Osborn. And I mean, yeah, I guess it could really only have been him, huh? Wow, Norman, you're a long way from the Gold Goblin now, aren't you? To his credit, Norman does actually have some pretty altruistic reasons for being Spider-Man, not only just protecting Peter's legacy and good works as the wall crawler, but also to test himself, to see if he truly can live up to the heroic ideal. I mean, he's not quite doing it yet. He is a more violent, shoot first, ask questions later Spider-Man, but he's getting better, he says. And even Norman knows it's only a matter of time before Peter returns, so he's really just keeping the costume warm for him. Of course, this still doesn't answer the most burning question, and that is if fake Peter Parker is actually Ben Reilly, and if fake Spider-Man is Norman Osborn, then where the hell is the real Peter Parker? Well, that's what the second part of this book explains. You see, Peter is in space. It would seem that after Hellgate beat the ever-loving crap out of Spider-Man, he dropped him on an alien world where he's gone all Tom Hanks and Castaway, growing a gross beard and subsisting off whatever animals crawl by him. This was all part of a bigger attempt to make the so-called Prince of Silk Steel stronger, whatever that actually means. For what it's worth, Peter has actually decided to take those words ultra literally, training his body and mind as hard as humanly possible, and it was made a lot easier when he was eventually picked up from this alien cave by Xanto Starblood. Don't know who this guy is? Well, he's an alien zoologist. Jason Aaron created him for the X-Men family of books. Basically, he's a mad scientist and occasional supervillain. Surprisingly though, him and Peter end up hitting it off right away. Xanto likes the idea of trying to make this Earth guy stronger, and as such he dedicates himself to this crazy project, mostly just to cure his own boredom. Peter is pretty happy for the help, so much to the point that he goes out of his way to not ask Dr. Starblood here any questions about himself. What I particularly like about these scenes, on top of actually just being really well drawn, it's interesting to see a Peter Parker who is unafraid to completely meld the Peter and Spider-Man aspects of his life together. In fact, in his internal monologue, Peter talks about how genuinely happy he is to be going on this crazy space adventure. These are the sort of things he dreamed about as a nerdy kid back in Queens. Oh, but unfortunately, nothing ever stays gold forever, does it? One night, Peter starts cleaning the ship and eventually ends up accidentally stumbling across Starblood's research facility, complete with a bunch of living sentient specimens. Now that the cat's out of the bag and Peter knows that Starblood is a bad guy, they have no choice to fight one another. Despite getting a lot stronger over their time together, Peter is still kind of outmatched. Thankfully though, he has a major ace in the hole, in the form of Starblood's special customized spacesuit, which is basically just an inert version of an old Technarchy alien, you know, the stuff Warlock from the X-Men books are made of. Yeah, Peter decides to put it on, and why wouldn't he? He's had nothing but good luck with alien suits over the years, am I right? And wouldn't you know it, on top of giving him a brand new shiny golden finish, it also gives him the edge in defeating Starblood. The totally spaced out Spider-Man frees Starblood's test subject, and we see that there's a lot of fun Marvel Cosmic characters in here, including Rocket Raccoon of the Guardians of the Galaxy, who ends the issue with a big old laugh when he says, "Ah, geez, just what I need, another Earth birther named Peter. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 11, everybody. And oh man, I was not prepared for this one when I picked it up this week. I was genuinely pleasantly surprised in a way I have not been by the mainline Amazing Spider-Man book in, geez, I don't even know how long. In fact, I dare say it's almost like Joe Kelly heard all of my complaints and compliments over the years and decided to write an entire issue tailor-made for me. Oh, what's that? You think this book is playing it too safe? You think it's too vanilla and not taking enough creative swings? Okay then, well what if we blow up the Spider-Man status quo from multiple angles to where you'll have no idea what's gonna happen next? Alright, good job, you did it. Hey, do you like Norman Osborn's slow attempt to try and be a better person in a world where his sins were magically purged from himself? Even though there's this not-so-subtle tragedy in knowing that the Goblin will eventually return, well, what if he just became Spider-Man for a bit? How about that? Hey, do you like Ben Reilly and wish that they would stop treating him so poorly and that he might actually get a chance to redeem himself again? Well, alright, what if we make him a central character in this story moving forward? But also add an extra layer of mystery on top of it where you don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy yet. Okay, yep, I'm sitting forward, I'm locked in. Hey, do you feel like Spider-Man never gets to grow or change or do anything different? Well, what if we literally send Peter Parker into space, take him completely out of his comfort zone, and completely turn the book into a cosmic space opera? How's that work for you? I mean, it's different, it's certainly different. Time will tell if it's good, but goddamn, it's different. So yeah, I was shockingly enraptured with this book. I was completely glued to it page to page. I hope they can keep this sort of energy moving forward. If so, I think we're going to be in for something special, and even if it's not, I will still remember just how shocked and pleasantly surprised I was by this single issue, which is why I actually give it an 8 out of 10, which might actually be one of the highest scores I've given a standalone Amazing Spider-Man book in a long time. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.